there. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the show that, man, just like home cooking. This is the Sports Box. We only opinion that matters. Can you give me something to throw for crying out loud?
Yeah, you never do that.
It's right here. I am Mike Galetta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my smiling partner, Brian, the Ranger Retard. Brian, how are you today?
I'm always happy when I'm not in the line of fire.
Give me a ball. Give me something to friggin' throw heavy, please, for crying out. Throw frisbees for crying out loud. That's how far we've come.
That's what the prescription says.
Oh, my God. Anyway, in our Quest for 32 NFL team preview show, we are heading off to the Northeast. And yes, folks, it has come that we are going to talk to the Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots affiliate.
Wait. They won?
They did. Yeah.
Hold on, wait.
I just got the memo.
Wait, I was watching that game. They were.
It was 28.
It was 28-3 with like 2 minutes left.
I don't understand. I went to bed. I thought it was over. I went to bed.
My whole world has been changed.
I just saw it on update. I was going to get fixed.
Is this true?
I don't know if you guys heard, it's not the first time they've won recently either.
Yeah. Anyway, before we go off on that, let me introduce our guest today, our New England Patriot affiliate and Super Bowl champion, Kevin Zane. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I know
Glad to be back.
he's gloating a little bit, but that's fine. When you win the Super Bowl, you can gloat.
They've been gloating for 10 freaking years.
If the Bucs win the Super Bowl, look the fuck out. So, anyway, let's get to the Patriots. Brian, stat me, New England Patriots.
New England Patriots, pretty good.
Super Bowl champions, by the way.
14-2 first in the AFC East again, won the Super Bowl again, and you may recall, did you know? They were down 28-3 late in the third quarter of the Super Bowl, and they came back to win that game in the largest comeback in Super Bowl history.
I hear people jumping off bridges right now in Atlanta.
We've lost a lot of followers in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I'll put it that way.
I'm sure it won't stop either.
Offensively, fantastic as always.
Yeah.
Fourth through the air, seventh on the ground, the fourth overall offense, and the third most points per game. Tom Brady, what more can you say? He had 4 games he was suspended and it didn't seem to matter. Over 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions.
Hey, Goodell, had that taste. Had that taste, Goodell.
Yeah. The leading rusher from a year ago, LeGarrette Blount, had 1,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. 18 touchdowns. A lot of them were for short yardage, though. He has since left for Philadelphia. Probably won't be that missed. Julian Edelman led the team in receiving, 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Martellus Bennett also had a couple touchdowns for himself. He left for Green Bay. Defensively, they were 12th against the pass, probably because a lot of other teams had to throw against them because they were down so much. 3rd against the run, 8th overall in the league. They were actually 3rd, Kevin, in the NFL, plus 12 giveaways, takeaways, and number 1, the lowest amount of turnovers in the NFL. Belichick team doesn't really surprise. Number 1 in points allowed per game. No first-round pick, though, for them. They traded it to New Orleans for wide receiver Brandon Cooks, and I want to start there. So, you had mentioned that the trade that they made with New Orleans, we asked you about it, was that you felt it had more to do with what Belichick thought of who was available in this draft, more so than maybe a guy like Brandon Cooks. But the reports out of camp is he's on fire. So, talk a little bit about having a guy like Cooks, what can he do for this team?
Well, both of those things can be true. He obviously wanted the player, and last year we talked about depth on this team. And if it's possible, they've gotten even deeper, especially around wide receiver. Like I said, he probably didn't see much that he liked, and that offer was on the table. I think New Orleans might have thought they were eventually going to get Malcolm Butler in return at the time. If you remember, that was a hot rumor for months, it seemed like. That didn't materialize. I never quite bought into that, and if they use that to their advantage, that obviously wouldn't be the first time that Coach Belichick has done something to gain an advantage. So
mind games.
Happy to have him. And again, I'll say the same thing I said about Chris Hogan last year, is that he can be good for this team. I wouldn't expect him to put up huge numbers just because there are so many targets, and he's not going to be Randy Moss. I'll put it that way.
With the you talk about the wide receivers, how deep they are. Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan. You got guys there that can do the job. Even Danny Edelman, as much as people bring his balls, that he's still a good receiver. The tight end position, they lost Martellus Bennett in the offseason. They do have Rob Gronkowski, but health has always been an issue with him. They did bring over Dwayne Allen from Indianapolis to back him up, so I think they'll be fine there. My question is a little bit different, but in the way of the quarterback, Tom Brady, the question is going around the last 3 or 4 years, when is this guy going to slow down? He just keeps on going and going and going. You got Jimmy Garoppolo in the wings whenever Brady does go. You got a great quarterback behind him, backing him up, but how long do you think Brady can keep this up?
If you listen to him, he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah. Yeah,
He came out recently and said that training camp just gets easier for him every year. That he feels great.
Yeah.
That he's not in any pain. For a 40-year-old quarterback who takes hits the way that he sometimes does, to say those things is, and I believe him. He's really living this lifestyle that he promotes, this TB12 lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to believe him, and until he shows differently on the field, I feel the same way about Gronk. Like, as long as he's healthy, what he shows on the field, he's dominant.
Yeah. You hope
until he's not.
You hope a really good quarterback like that doesn't come to a halt and just hits a wall. But hey, he's been getting it done. I mean, hey, good for him. My next question is the running back situation. You talked about losing Blunt, 18 touchdowns, big red zone guy. Eagles have him now. You talk about this backfield, a little bit crowded with Deion Lewis, James White, Rex Burkhead coming over from Cincinnati, and Brandon Bolden. The Patriots do a good job of mixing everybody up there and not giving one guy a heavy load. But out of these four guys, who do you think is probably going to get the most work this year?
The guy who is going to be Blunt's quote-unquote replacement, I think, is going to be Mike Gillislee. They snatched him up from Buffalo again, using the rules to his advantage. Signed him to a tender. Buffalo didn't match.
Yeah.
So happy to have him. He's averaged something like almost 6 yards a carry through 2 seasons. We're very happy to have him. He scored a lot of touchdowns.
And they'll use them where they should.
I don't know if he'll get 18, but it might be close if this offense continues to do what it's done. And it's not everybody can make the team. Like Brandon Bolden has been good when he's had to play. He's contributed on special teams, but I'm just not seeing room for him on this roster with everybody else they've signed. It's pretty crazy how deep this team is. Again, I'll go back to that.
You mentioned Gronkowski earlier on. So he missed some time last year due to injury. He only had 3 touchdowns last year, and he is signed for 2 more seasons after this one.
Yeah.
As fantasy football players know, I mean, he's a guy you love to have. Just seems to score touchdowns all the time. But he's frustrating in that you never know when he's going to play and when he's not going to play. And as you know very well, Belichick doesn't really want to release those cards ahead of time, so it's very frustrating. Do you feel at this point, he's 28 years old, have we seen peak Gronk?
We may have, as much as it pains me to say that. We may have. But again, until we see otherwise, when he's healthy, he's always been the same player, out there dominating. When he's hurt, obviously not so much. But if he stays out for 16 games, there's no limit to what this team can do or what he can do statistically and success-wise. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl the whole second half of the season last year without him. So I missed him, but
nice piece to add. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. We're talking to Kevin Zane, our New England Patriots Super Bowl champion affiliate for the Sports Box. Well, we have to. They won the Super Bowl. I got to give them his props. Anyway, talk about the defensive side of the ball, Kevin. And here's the defense that has gotten better in the last couple of years. You talk about that. Some certain guys in there: Trey Flowers, Malcolm Brown, who are staples in there. Alan Branch coming over from San Francisco. You talk about the secondary, though, is where, they struggle sometimes during the year. They fall off a little bit. Malcolm Butler's solid back there. But then you got Patrick Chung, who's okay back there. Devin McCourty, and they bring over Stephen Gilmore this year. I think that secondary is really reinforced this year. And do you agree? I think their secondary is much improved. I think they'll do well this year.
It's got to be one of the best in the league. That Gilmore and Butler, like I said, they brought in Gilmore and everybody was expecting Butler to leave.
Lock up both corners now.
Lock them both down at least for 1 year.
Yep.
And you see what they did when they had Revis for the 1 year. Brandon Browner was on the team at that time as well.
Well, Butler was involved in the New Orleans trade, possibly, supposedly, and then that fell apart. Yeah.
An underrated move I thought was the Coney Ealy trade, getting him from Carolina. They pretty much didn't give him a whole hell of a lot. I think they moved down about 8 or 10 spots in that draft.
8 spots, I believe.
And they got a player who looks like he's going to start for them. Is this Belichick heist or what?
He's going to start now because defensive end is probably the top concern right now for the team. Trey Flowers has obviously stepped up, did good, led the team with seven or 8 sacks last year. But behind him, they drafted their top 2 draft picks, Dietrich Wise and Derek Rivers. Both are a little banged up, I believe, at the moment. So there's not much depth behind Trey Flowers at the moment. Rob Ninkovich retired, Jabal Sheard left. So we're looking at possibly making a move or making some sort of adjustments. It wouldn't surprise me if they start doing things with like 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers, or vice versa. Like Bill Belichick's been known to do this. You said it last year. He's their best defensive weapon.
Yes.
He gets the most out of the players that he has.
How much will they miss Nick if Chubb recently retired?
They will miss him. There's rumors going around that he may come back now that defensive end is such a need.
He just wants another ring. I mean,
Exactly.
just show
Why
up.
not? Yeah, I would too.
I wouldn't mind having him back, but obviously he felt like his body couldn't keep going. Be glad to have him, but I think they'll find a way. I have no reason not to have confidence in this team, with or without him.
Kevin, the last question I have for you, how comfortable are you having, and a lot of teams aren't comfortable doing this, but you have Julian Edelman back there running punts. He's probably their best weapon back there, along with Danny Amendola running the kickoffs back. Are you comfortable having 2 starting wide receivers running that kind of a play back? It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but one hit and your depth chart just goes down that 1%. So, I mean, do you feel comfortable with those 2 guys running punts back and kickoffs back?
I kind of have to, because the alternative would be their number 1 draft pick from last year, Cyrus Jones. And he has done nothing.
Yeah.
He in the first preseason game, he gave up 2 huge plays. I was personally at a game last year where he fumbled 2 kickoff and or punt returns. He's just shown nothing on that field. I don't see how they keep him around. Since that second round of last year's draft. You're familiar with this, I'm sure. Your second round pick last year for your Bucks didn't work out.
Who got released? Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. So sometimes you just gotta.
I tout the guy for Super Bowl. He rips me about his wire. That's nice. He'll never come back here. Anyway, so in that sense, Brian, I think you look at the league, and there's a lot of people, a lot of GMs thinking about my question about the 2 wide receivers, because you look at Kansas City, they're at the draft Tyreek Hill just for that reason. Just to get him back there to run punt. He's a wide receiver, but he's not really fully in the offense. He's basically there to run punt and kickoffs back. So I think that's kind of where the league's going slowly, is to bring a draft pick in and maybe have a 3rd, 4th wide receiver, but mainly to run special teams.
Athletic weapons. I mean, you can see Amendola do it more, because Amendola's role is going to be a little bit more reduced, because now they have a legitimate guy in Cook.
Correct.
For as long as they're going to have him. We talked about how long they may be there, but
Right. But Edelman is a big part of the offense.
Sure. So we're going to take a look at the schedule. I'm going to. Usually, Mike, you like to look at Murderer's Row. I'm going to look at the dead opposite, which is going to be like,
I'll look at
the anti-Murderer's Row, like when you can kind of put your feet up and watch. From week 12 on, the last 6 games of the season, the Patriots have 5 division games. That should probably please you, because they're normally pretty damn good within their own division. Actually, the joke was made. They just came out. The Patriots are the only team in the NFL with 2 personal private jets, so now they own 55 jets. The 53 in New York, and these 2.
Aren't they the only team that have 2 bye weeks too?
Every year they seem to have. It's just
Sorry, I had to throw it in.
So, Mike, I'll defer to you on this. We're talking about the best team in the NFL. I think that's pretty easy to say. So, when we talk about Murderer's Row, they are the murderer. So,
yeah.
Is there a stretch here, outside of obviously week 5, that you think the Patriots are going to struggle with?
Yeah, and you can't say it's funny with the Patriots that they have an easy schedule, because they're a good team every year, and they have a good team. Just I'm a little issue here. Try to get it up. There we go. So yeah, you look at the schedule, and I think coming out of the break, it's going to be a little bit tricky, because you got 3 out of those 4 teams that are going to be vying for playoff spots. You got the Broncos at Denver, not an easy place to go West Coast. You got to go to Oakland and again in the following week, which is a good team this year. The Dolphins, I think they come back and beat the Dolphins, because Cutler stinks. And then you got at the Bills, who I think could make a playoff push. The beginning part of the season, you got the Chiefs home, which is good, because it's always tough to play in Arrowhead, so you had them home. You got a high-powered offense in New Orleans, but again, there's a win there. Texas has a good defense. 5 is definitely going to be problems. I don't see that being. Actually, I see that being a close game. I think if the Bucs can hang in that game, they'll probably still lose that game. More than likely, they're going to lose that game. I'd love to see them win, but I think they're going to lose that game.
Wait, you just go for the Bucs to lose the game?
I did, yeah. Unfortunately, 50-1.
Sports fans, sports box fans, please mark this down.
Yeah,
first time ever.
What's going to be interesting is that game home against the Falcons. We both had said this year that how do you recover from that loss? Because I still can't believe Atlanta lost that game, but. If you're a Falcons fan, you're going to be second guessing everything this year of what you did last year wrong that got you to that point that you lost against the Patriots. So I don't know how the Falcons recover from that game. So there's a perfect example how they're going to do. I think out of the gate the Patriots are strong. You know, I'm not going to say it's a cakewalk for the Patriots this year, but I think they have a good year. And Murderers Row, like I said, is the second half of the year after the bye week. I think those 3 out of 4 games, I think it's going to be a little tricky.
Obviously, anything less than like 12 wins for this team would be a disappointment. It's always a possibility, like you said. Playing in Denver is always rough.
Mhm.
Historically, has been rough for Tom Brady. In Denver, I don't think it's the same team they've been the past few years. The divisional games, obviously glad to see that, although they do struggle late in the season in Miami for whatever reason. At Pittsburgh could be a tough game. You know, that is what, week 15. A lot of eyes will be on that game, I'm sure, and a lot of eyes on the Falcons game in prime time. They start against the Chiefs. If you remember the Chiefs game, that the Chiefs basically blew them out in prime time a couple years ago. That started the whole we're on to Cincinnati and is Tom Brady finished talk. So
Sure.
Yeah, that game in week 6 is going to be rough. Oh, it's a Jets. I'm sorry. My eyes.
It's gonna be rough to stay interested.
Yeah, but I will notice about the Patriots. I'm sure someone will bring it up because people, love to hate the Patriots. They only have 2 West Coast games this year, and they're both back to back. So whether they thought, okay, we'll give them less games, put them back to back, make it tough for them, but they don't go out west.
Well, that Raiders game is actually in Mexico City.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
3 games. These 3 games, it's not. By that time, week 15, they'll probably be, pretty much stern set up in the division. So.
Well, I think in week 7 against Atlanta, they're probably going to be down like 25 points in the third quarter and find a way to win. I might have seen that movie before.
It's possible.
I mean, a couple games do stand out to me. The biggest game of the season, in my opinion, is probably going to be that game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, because really, for New England to have any sort of competition in the AFC, I mean, they're going to have to go play a game on the road. Okay, when they lost to the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, that game was played in Denver.
Yeah.
So when you take them away from Foxborough, not that they're that much worse. Don't get me wrong, but that's where they get. You see a little bit of a chink in the armor here and there. So for a team like Pittsburgh, who many feel is maybe the only team that might give them a run for their money at some point, but probably not, honestly. If the Steelers can find a way to get that game in Pittsburgh, it gives them a much, much better opportunity to get past New England. They probably still won't. But at least it opens up that door. But I don't know. I look at the schedule and I don't see many losses.
Well, I will say this, and take it for what it's worth. I'm not saying this because I'm a Bucs fan, but I will look at Game 5 and say that game for my boys is the step up and put your big pants on.
Yes.
If they can hang in that game, and I'm not even saying they can win by 7 or 10 or whatever the case may be, if they can hang in that
Better hope
game,
it doesn't come down to a field goal.
well, again, Nick Folk, he's fine, and they might sign me in a couple weeks. Anyway, but if that game comes down to a field goal or comes down to something close, that's a game where the Bucs are expected to come in this year and play really well. They got the weapons. They're supposed to be a good team. To have the Super Bowl champions come down to your place, hang with them, and possibly beat them, that's a huge step forward for the Bucs this year. So that game, I think, is going to be tricky for the Patriots because they're going to be ready for that game.
So a lot of those football fans, tend to value regular season games. I don't feel as though, as a Patriots fan, you really need to. So just for those of us who actually, have to sweat these things
Yeah,
out.
why don't you take his pants off and make him comfortable? I mean, come on.
How boring is regular season football for you? Because it just doesn't matter.
Let's get to it before this gets real wet over here.
Yeah.
So, Ken, we'll put you on the spot. What do
Okay.
you think about your team record-wise this year?
Like I said, anything less than 12 is a disappointment, obviously.
So we go
14
12
is,
and 4 or 13 and 3?
13 and 3.
13. Him and the Saints going to the Super Bowl.
I gotta tell you, I can't find 3 losses.
Yeah, we had our Saints
I mean,
guy say 13 and 3.
Saints guy.
Saints guy said 13 and 3. He was high. But
He's a fan. It's all right.
Yeah, it's exactly. James, we love you. Okay, so 13 and 3. There it is. So we'll see New England Super Bowl again.
So now let me ask you this question from your perspective.
Okay.
Obviously, you're not kept up at night by the teams of the AFC, but who is maybe the team or two that you have a slight level of potential concern about
Probably Green Bay.
in the NFC? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking going to the
Sure.
Super Bowl,
Are you
and
wor-
what
are
teams
you
are going
worried-
to concern me in the Super Bowl?
Are you worried about the Raiders at all with a healthy Derek Carr?
A little, but not so much. Because when you have young guys like that, and they're a very young team, once they need experience to be able to handle what Bill Belichick is going to throw at them.
Yeah.
And a couple years down the line, I think the Raiders might be a threat. Right now, not that worried about them. It could very well be the AFC title game, and I'm sure they'll play them
Rob
tough.
Yorsh would have something to say about that. will say.
Ron Hobnail will really enjoy the deference to the
Exactly.
Patriots.
So that's all the time we have. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. That's all the time we have for New England Patriots preview. We want to thank New England Patriots affiliate and Super Bowl champion Kevin Zane for coming in. Evan, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I love the Jedi look, by the way. Very nice. Very nice.
Palpatine. Slash Belichick.
God. Anyway.
There's a difference? For you Star Wars fans?
Depends who you ask.
Anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, you can always get us on social media if you can.
Absolutely. As you know, this is one of 32 NFL team previews that we're doing to get you ready for the NFL season where his team's probably going to win again. Let's just call it what it is. But doesn't mean that you can't enjoy every Sunday. So make sure that you've seen your team preview. Follow the Sports Box on Facebook and Twitter at Sports Box Show, and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're going to have a lot of great content for you on the way to a probable Patriots championship, but it'll be fun along the ride.
If the Patriots win the Super Bowl again, I might have to change my allegiance and go to the Patriots because I don't know if I can deal with this anymore.
Come to the dark side.
Oh, God, I can't do it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. That's Sports Box, the only thing that matters. Goddamn right, it's right here. Thank you. See you.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velarde. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.